Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another stream. I'm super excited about this one because my husband actually just came up with a new series name called The Chelsea Hangover, talking about what the heck happened during the Chelsea game, the good and the bad. And, I thought it was such a clever name. So decided to go with that one for this series going forward. I'm joined by two really awesome guests. We are actually on a stream on Dammy's channel together. So I thought that it would be cool to get the three of us back together again. So I'm joined by TheGrandDam Dammy and MonstarCFC. Guys, I don't know who wants to go first, but say hello. How's it going?
Oh, listen. We're in Elizabeth's house this time. You understand Elizabeth settings. You understand Chelsea Hangover settings. Big boy settings in the cut. We're in here with the boy Monster and we're with Elizabeth. So what are we saying? You understand? Buzzing. I am buzzing. I know it's the Chelsea Hangover, lovely name, but I'm hangover on success right now. Do you understand? I'm high on success. That's what's popping up right now. But we can't really complain, can we?
I can't match that level of enthusiasm right now. That was brilliant. Monster, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm happy, man. Do you know what I mean? I can't complain. Obviously Chelsea won, which is all I wanted, and we didn't just win, we won convincingly, beat them with a statement to go into the Tottenham game. And we've always complained it wasn't even about losing, it was about our performances and things like that. So I am so happy with the way things are going with Chelsea right now. They put a smile on my face. I've not smiled about Chelsea in quite a while. But yeah, I'm happy, and hopefully we take that same mentality into the Tottenham game and do something there.
Yeah, definitely. So it felt so good to walk away from a Chelsea game and just not be in like a completely rancid mood afterwards. And I really liked what we saw. So let's start getting into that game. I know that it's already been a day, but now we've had a little bit more time to stew about it. So I want to take you guys back to before the game actually started. When we saw the starting 11, personally, I was expecting a couple of more changes from the Wolves game than we saw. So when we saw the starting 11, what was your initial reaction? Demi, I'll go to you first.
Wow. It's funny because at the start, I saw Alonso, and the thing is, the day before, I did like a tier list on my channel, and I put Alonso in clown settings, you understand? I put him in clown settings. I was like, we're not going to see him, I was like, nah, we're not having any of this near the building. And then only for us to see the starting 11, and I saw Alonso, and I was like, raw. I am in trouble here. I knew I was in trouble. I was like literally in trouble. It had Alonso written all over it. Obviously, at the start of the season, and not even at the start of the season, when Tuchel came in, a lot of people were disappointed that Mason Mount didn't start the first game. I said, why is everyone panicking? Why are you all panicking? Like, these guys are good enough. Because I've always felt they are good enough to play for Chelsea Football Club. When people complain and panic about stuff like that, oh, he deserves to play on merit, I'm just like, why are you so worried if you believe in his ability? If you're worrying like that, to me, it shows me that you don't believe enough in the player for them to start. Mason obviously came on after the game, during the game in Wolves. He was making those very good half turns in between the half spaces, looking very effective, looking very good. He came into the start 11. I wasn't surprised. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't surprised. Got Havertz, them lot on the bench and all of that. I know you find a way to integrate them as time moved on, but overall, I saw the lineup. I was like, obviously happy to see Mason back in the squad. Happy to see Callum Hudson Odoi. You understand? Happy to see him in the game. But then, I mean, like I said, Alonso, Rudiger, some odd people in there. But hey, I'm giving Tuchel 5 to 6 games to get people integrated and allow him to do what he wants for the start. And if he gets Alonso to play like magic, then fair play to you. Do you know what I'm saying? I just want Chelsea to win. That's what that matters to me.
So Emmanuel actually goes, not gonna lie, if we're looking to play 3 at the back, Alonso may actually have to play over Chilwell. Monster, what do you think about that?
Yes, if we're playing 3 at the back, yeah, I like when I saw the starting lineup, we're playing 3 at the back. I was like, I'm not surprised. We're playing 3 at the back. Alonso has to start over Chilwell because Chilwell's a left back. Alonso offers a lot going forward, whether it's aerially or he's better shoot wise as well. Really clinical in front of goal. The man can, you might as well just play as a striker. That's how good he is in front of goal. But,
yeah.
So it didn't surprise me. I thought he was throwing a couple shots, kissing the badge in his post-match interview. But yeah, listen. At the end of the day,
like about him kissing the badge. I was
like, what
it's like Dammy says. At the end of the day, we shouldn't necessarily care too much about the starting lineup. It's about what works. If it works, then yeah, we can't complain, innit? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Real Chris goes, don't get it twisted. If Alonso didn't score, he had a bang average game. He was good at left wing back, but he can be used there sometimes. Yeah, I agree. I didn't think that he was like phenomenal aside from the goal, but I do think that the goal could be one of the goal of the seasons. Like
Yeah.
we may have just witnessed the goal of the season because it was that good. I think like in order to transform a game from being bang average to having a good game, like scoring that type of goal definitely kind of like moves it or shifts it over in my book. Like, you know, if you score that type of goal, I don't think that Chilwell would have necessarily scored that.
100%.
So it's going to be interesting to see if Alonso has kind of like a second life under Tuchel and and gets back to it, because we know that he had it. I was worried about how he was going to play, given that he hasn't played a football match in like 4 months.
Yeah.
So given that as well, perhaps he can get a little bit better. But overall, I thought that it was okay. What do you guys think about the other senior players that kind of found themselves out of favor under Frank Lampard, but now seem to be reinvigorated under Tuchel, like your Rudiger, Jorginho, Kovacic is playing more as well? What do you guys think about that? I'll go to you, Monstar, first.
I don't want to fully say they've been they've been reinvigorated, because I think right now what it is Tuchel's trying to feel out the squad, trying to get a sense of what this off player offers and what that player offers. So we don't exactly know who's going to be his first 11, who's going to be in his first 11 just yet. But so far, the players, you know, they Rudiger, Jorginho, who I've been critical of. I've also been a bit critical of Kovacic as well. So far, they've given us, you know, everything, and they've played well for us. So I have to give them the praise just as much as the criticism I've given them, and I'm happy with their performances so far. Been excellent.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Demi?
I mean, for me, like I keep saying, it's difficult because everybody knows I don't run agendas except two individuals, Marcos Alonso and Rudiger. I only run agendas against those two. I've never hid it. You understand? Even before I had my first 100 followers, my first two individuals, I said Alonso, Rudiger, Agenda FC. You understand? When the news came out about them two, I put out my tweets about the both of them. We'll continue to run agendas, but one thing I wouldn't do is if somebody plays well, like Rudiger was decent. You understand? He was okay. He wasn't atrocious. He didn't make any stupid mistakes. He looked solid. I know it was against Burnley. You understand? Obviously, I know Burnley don't get that many attacks. And was it like they almost had 0 XG or something stupid like that yesterday or day before yesterday? But at the end of the day, I have to give Rudiger where credit is due. He was good. Like you said with Alonso, I'm not the biggest fan, and I don't think he played that well. That goal was just so good that even Roberto Carlos, he had to come outside and clap. You understand? Carlos was like, wow, that's big boy settings. Obviously, a lot of people forget to give credit to Pulisic with regards to that pass, because some people are just like, oh, Alonso's technique did everything. But that lofted ball from Pulisic was so smart and intuitive. He took out three players, and I gave obviously, Alonso had a lot to do. He had a lot to do, but what Pulisic did there was phenomenal. With regards to Jorginho and Kovacic, they looked class. You know what I mean? Jorginho was doing vertical and diagonal passes all over the shop. 4 chances created, or is it 4? I can't remember what it is. 4 chances created, I think, or something along those lines. He only had like 5 in his last 12 games under Lampard or something. So it's clear that all these people have been rejuvenated. Even Callum Hudson Odoi, not a senior player, but under Tuchel, he's gotten 2 back-to-back starts, 2 back-to-back man of the matches. Are we meant to be surprised? I don't think so. Azpilicueta always going to be reliable. Do you know what I mean? Big man coming in, scoring the goal that started the entire thing. I know we all love Dave, innit? You know what I'm saying? We can't not love Dave. He came in, we ran 76, 77 yards for that goal. So once again, the big players are stepping up and they're doing what they're supposed to at this point in time. Obviously, I want to see them against the top opposition. I don't think Tottenham. I know Tottenham is not going to be an easy game, but I want to see them against some harder in opposition. But right now, I can't really complain.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And you know, when you said Azpilicueta, my face like lit up. I don't know if you guys saw my video yesterday.
Yeah.
I just like adore the man so much. But yeah, I think it's interesting as well because it seems that the players are getting more direction, I think, under Tuchel, and that's not slamming Lampard at all. It just seems that they have more specific instructions, and that's why I think perhaps Jorginho is deciding to go forward, because I think maybe previously he might have just been a little bit too scared to lose the ball or like make a riskier pass. And I didn't see too much of it in the first half, but I do think in the second half we saw a lot more of those weighted passes and forward passes instead of just going side to side. So I was happy with that. But we got a funny comment, Demi. Somebody's coming at you. He goes, "She's always on time, unlike Demi."
You guys,
Demi on time.
The thing is, like I said, I keep telling people it's better to be late than never. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. Most of the times it's my guests, okay? It's not always, you might think, but this isn't fair though, because I usually get there on time and I'm chatting with them in the comments while we're waiting for the guests. But hey, Ellie's obviously got more people unlocked than I do, so fair play to her for coming on time. I need to take a page out of her book as well. Oh my god.
Oh my god. And Daniel goes, Ellie wanted Alonso to play a striker. Honestly, it could, like, did you guys see that Pogba senior tweet yesterday? There was like, whoever puts Alonso as a left back instead of a striker, like totally like missed it. I thought that was hilarious because the man could perfectly be a striker. Like, we joke about it a lot, but he could totally be a striker.
4 years. We've been saying it for like 2 or 3 years, isn't it? It's shocking.
And did you guys see that stat that was like he has the most goals out of defenders out of the past like 3 years or 4 years or something like that, and he hasn't even been playing the past year and a half, so it just makes it like even more impressive. It's like ridiculous. So let's see. And it is interesting that he's coming into form. He scored a goal right before the Tottenham game because we know that Marcos Alonso hates Tottenham and loves to score a goal against them. So it's going to be an interesting one. That we have a question from Blues FPL that I wanted to get to. It says, do you think we'll stick with 3 at the back formation against Tottenham because it's Jose and we'll know he'll set 10 men at the back as usual? What do you guys think?
Yeah. I think we are going to stick with what we're doing right now. I don't think this will be the game for him to necessarily experiment and change things up. I mean, it wouldn't really make sense to change things up right now because it's more of a situation of if it's not broken, why fix it? I do think he will stick with a 3 at the back for now. And even if you look at it, it's a 3 at the back, but it's not. It's a fluid 3 at the back where it changes to a back 4 at times. Do you know what I mean? So if it was me, I would stick with what we're doing right now and change things up later on. So when we come up against an easier side or in the FA Cup, then look to change things up to the back 4 and see how that goes. But for now, I would stick with the back 3.
Yeah. What about you, Demi?
100%. I think against Tottenham, because the thing is, Tuchel has come in and he's using this 3 at the back because he's clearly done his analysis on this league. A lot of people felt he was going to come in and not use certain youth players. He wasn't going to be able to break down low blocks. Wolves was just a taster session. Do you know what I mean? That was his first game in the league. Like I told people, he probably got a phone call in the morning and was like, yo, XYZ, we need you to come down to London today. Went to Luton Airport, touchdown, went to the TFL, underground, went to Stamford Bridge, signed the documents, took all the pictures and just had one training session. And then they were able to get that sort of pressing and possession on lock in the first training session. And knew, you know what? Whatever this man wants to do, he can do. With that 3 at the back, what it really does for him, it does allow him to have 5 players constantly bombarding and hitting that low block and moving them side to side. You could see that when Chelsea were playing, it was quite effective. We were quite effective on the ball. We'll move the ball to one side and quickly switch it over to the other. That's what made Mason was very, very pivotal in the half spaces, you understand? So we've got all these different elements to the game, and the 3-4-3 definitely allows us to be able to control the thing. So against the Tottenham side, we're going to park the bus of buses. Do you know what I mean? They're not even going to park a big normal bus in it. They're going to park an Airbus in front of their goal. So going to be a whole plane settings thing. You understand? So
the entire stadium will be parked.
The entire stadium is just going to have buses. I think they're going to have like 20 players in the box defending it. You know what I mean? Mourinho might even be there to try and get some headers off the thing. But on the most serious note, I just feel like 100% that 3-4-3 right now, I don't see him changing it. But once again, like I keep telling people, I've had the manager that has been tactically flexible since Jose Mourinho. With no disrespect to Conte, obviously he came in, he did the happy change, and that happened. Sarri was not really flexible formation-wise. And Lampard, I'm not really going to get into Lampard, but we all know how that unfolded at the end of the day. With no disrespect to him, of course, but I just feel like we now have a manager that could come in and could genuinely shock us. So I'm expecting a 3-4-3. But we could see something different. But I think it makes sense to play that 3-4-3 because it seems to be working against the low blocks.
Yeah, like you guys said, I don't think that he's necessarily going to be changing it for Tottenham. And Harry Kane is going to be out injured for a couple of weeks, so he's going to miss the Tottenham game as well, which I think gives them even it's going to make them sit back even more than they normally would have, probably. So it's going to be an interesting game because I don't think that we've beaten a side in the top 10 yet in the Premier League this season. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Wow.
So I really, really want to get this win against Tottenham. Matthew goes, Marcos Alonso masterclass against Spurs incoming as usual. It's like if he picks one game, you know that it's going to be against Spurs. I'm kind of just going through the comments. I had to a flow that I wanted to go through, but that's just gone out the window. So we're just gonna go with it. Go through your comments. We can talk about the Burnley game a little bit, talk about Spurs, whatever. Coded Photography asks, what did you guys think of Chilwell against Wolves? And I think he's asking this specifically because we saw Alonso come in against Burnley and bench him. And if we are playing this 3 at the back system, perhaps do you guys think that Chilwell fits into the system? Does he start ahead of Marcos Alonso? Demi, I'll start with you.
In this thing is I think is one thing Monster kept reminding me about as well is that we all seem to forget, not all of us, but some people seem to forget that when it comes to left wing back settings, I don't think there's a left wing back better than Marcos Alonso, as annoying as it is. Do you know what I mean? This guy comes in and always makes sure that he occupies that back line of the defense. I don't know how he does it. Do you know what I mean? Always finding himself in the right positions at the right times. Ben Chilwell, for example, against Burnley. I feel, and I stand by this, I even said this before we saw Alonso in the 11. I felt if Alonso had started in that game, we would have had a different output because at the end of the day, Chilwell, obviously, we have seen him score goals in the past, and obviously, I know he's very much a confidence player. But when it comes to doing the dirty deed within the box, heading, getting the scrappy goal, doing the Chilwell wasn't scoring that yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he could have occupied the same position, but he definitely wasn't scoring that yesterday. Maybe I might be underrating his finishing ability, but we all know that Alonso brings something to the table. And what I think Tuchel wants, because we can see with Callum Hudson Odoi, Callum is out there beating his man and trying to occupy that full length of the pitch. Alonso can't really do that. He can't really do that up and down thing. That's why his overall game was average. But when it comes to staying at the far post and occupying all those areas in the box that the striker can't occupy, Alonso has it over him. Don't get it twisted. In a situation where we go back to a back 4, Alonso should find his way to the bench. Bench settings immediately. I don't want to see him on the pitch, but when it comes to playing 3-4-3, I think Alonso has that on lock. I think he really does have it on lock because I just feel he brings so much to the team as a left wing back. Even though he can't really defend, he does do a lot on that left-hand side.
So Monster, going to the Tottenham game, does Alonso start for you?
If we're playing the back 3, which we probably are going to be playing, yes, he should start over Chilwell. Chilwell in the game against Wolves, he just didn't look up for it. At times didn't look bothered. Do you know what I mean? He also, in order for him to even come in this side again, he needs to prove he deserves to be there. He needs to, everyone's trying to impress, everyone's working hard, everyone's trying to cement their place. He's the only player that doesn't look like he wants to cement a place here. Do you know what I mean? Because even, after looking at that Wolves game, I know it's a bit reactionary saying this, but I was just thinking, bruv, if this guy doesn't want to play for this team, just bring Emerson in and forget about him because he's not taking it serious, innit? We're trying to catapult ourselves into the back 4, into the top 4, and he doesn't seem to be serious at all. His passing was off, his control was off, his shooting boots weren't on. He just didn't look bothered. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing. He needs to prove to Chelsea, to Tuchel, whoever, that he wants to be in his side. So it's up to him to do that. Otherwise, just drop him. Just drop him.
100%.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Chilwell just recently has not been playing well, and I was attributing it to the entire team as a whole not being able to play well, and they weren't getting results, and it was just kind of like a bitter atmosphere in the dressing room. So obviously that's going to affect your confidence. But I didn't think that he had a strong game versus Wolves. But then again, he was playing as a left wing back, which we know is different than a left back. And, you know, we've seen that it's not as interchangeable as some people might think. It's actually like a very different role. Marcos Alonso is a brilliant left wing back, but he is not a good left back. And Bencho probably would need some time to adjust to that left wing back role. I don't think that we're necessarily always going to see a 3-4-3, but for like
100%.
against low block teams, it could make sense just to try to like overload the defense with 5 players up front.
100%.
But I would like for me, the question with a 3-4-3, and Jack kind of hinted at it, is where does Reece James fit into this equation? Because he hasn't been starting, and if you're playing Callum at right wing back and you're playing Azpilicueta, who, let's be real, I think he's stronger defensively still than Reece James is, where does Reece fit in? What do you guys think?
I don't think as a right wing back, Callum does it because, like I said, that's why a lot of people, before Tuchel even signed, when it was all that report, I kept on saying it. You know what I mean? I told people Callum Hudson Odoi is going to play because Tuchel. That's why we're not really seeing Ziyech. You know what I mean? A lot of people are wondering what's happened to Ziyech, blah blah blah. I know it's only 2 games in. I will probably see him somewhere along the line, but Ziyech and Reece James, those two as individuals, they like coming inside. They don't really attack that fullback. They don't pin down that opponent winger. But Callum will always do that for you. And that is what Tuchel wants from all his wingers. When he managed that Dortmund, when he managed that PSG, that's what he wanted his wingers to do. When he had like the likes of Di Maria playing on the wings sometimes. Di Maria likes to cut in a bit, but he made him play on that right-hand side properly and actually pin down the opposition fullback. So with Reece James is more of like, I mean, Monster described it best. He would chest it down and like take his time on the ball and do stuff. But Callum is, you know what I'm saying? Like that. So that's what he really wants from his fullback. So Reece James will probably play in the back 4. I don't really see him playing in the back 3. You could see the dynamic changed when he came on for Callum Hudson Odoi. Obviously, Reece James is a top fullback, and I've never disagreed with that. But we do know he's a bit hefty. I'm not saying he's slow, but we know he's a bit hefty. Callum is very nimble, quick, getting in between those very tight spaces. You saw that cross he put into the box, where that cross that he put in that the keeper had to sort of react to it, if not would have gone into the goal. That's the sort of thing that Callum does. Reece James is an excellent crosser of the ball, but Callum Hudson Odoi's gameplay, especially with how Tuchel wants to play, I can't see him putting Reece James over that right now. Like you said with Aspi is a bit better defensively, a bit more disciplined, and I just feel like overall it just makes a bit more sense right now. But hey, I know Reece James will play eventually. I just don't think he'll play against all these low block sides.
Monster, do you agree?
Yeah. I agree that as you saw, Callum Hudson Odoi was torturing the Burnley left back, absolutely just hammering him. The guy had no way of dealing with him. With Reece James, when Reece James came on for Hudson Odoi, it was more of, all right, cool, the game's over. Let's just secure things up so they don't try and score anything. But you could see the difference. The game was a lot slower. Reece James slowed the ball down, got a couple crosses in, but didn't offer what Callum Hudson Odoi did going forward. So it would only make sense if you're trying to break a team down and attack a team. It would make more sense to get Hudson Odoi in there in front of Reece James. I can't see a reason why Reece James will replace Hudson Odoi as a right wing back. Not right now. No way. Hudson Odoi has to get in over him.
Yeah, it's a tough one because I love Reece James. I think that he's an absolutely brilliant player as well. So I think that's why Tuchel probably is going to change the formation. We're not always going to be playing these low block teams. So, but then I think like if you have the 3-4-3, it allows you kind of a little bit more defensive stability as well. So that's why I question if we're going to change formation. But I do think we'll see a formation change eventually. If we play a back 4, we will see Reece James starting. But it also makes me worried for players like Pulisic as well, because if he's playing like the wing back system and then you have like a player like Mount or Havertz in the 10 and then you have 2 attacking players, it's either he has to either be an attacking player or essentially a left wing back, which he really is not. So you guys think that Pulisic fits into this system as well? Because I have to ask, because you know that Pulisic is my fave along with Aspi. So
When he came on yesterday, he looked excellent. I think he looked brilliant. The only thing missing was his shooting boots, which obviously he will get soon enough. I thought when he came on, he played excellently, and I think he played like he was like a playing in a two with Werner, if I'm not wrong in saying that. That's what it looked like anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. That's what I thought. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think he looked good. I think he's gonna get game time. I think everyone is gonna get game time. There's gonna be a lot of rotation. And I was happy with his performance yesterday. Just barring I think it wasn't just him, it was most of our players. Just barring that final shot, to get the ball in the back of the net. I think everyone played well. I wasn't necessarily mad at anyone's performance yesterday.
Yeah, I think that the team as a whole just looked, especially in the first half, they looked a little bit too eager. Like they almost wanted to try to impress Tuchel too much, and they're all like not really thinking about it, not taking that extra second. And I think that kind of affected as well. Pulisic's shooting has not been great this season, but we know that he's capable of it. I keep saying this because he did it in Project Restart. He was shooting phenomenally, scoring brilliant goals. So we know that he's capable of it. And it does seem that he had, along with the team, but Pulisic as well, I think that he looks a lot sharper, at least in the Burnley game, I thought so. And so I don't know. I think that he'll definitely get back to that level. And like Dammy said, the assist for the Alonso goal was just absolutely brilliant. To be able to see that and to have that vision and then to execute it was really, really well done. So I do think that there's a place for Pulisic, but I don't know if it's necessarily as, what's the word, like, as evident, as
He's
saying like Callum Hudson Odoi as a right wing back, because he came on for Tammy. So he was kind of playing like a second striker, almost like an inside left, and with Timo as the striker. So let's see. I hope that he starts for Tottenham though. So I'm just going to go through some of these questions now. Or comments, I should say. Thomas Slav says, Chile B will play over Alonso as soon as his team start to target that side and Tuchel realize that Alonso can't track back and Rudiger is error prone.
I mean, it depends. That's why I keep saying, like, remember Rudiger and like Alonso, these lot looked good in that time. Rudiger was here in our title winning season, wasn't he? Am I making a mistake? I don't think he was. It was the next season, in it, but he was under Sarri and he looked quite decent. Do you know what I mean? He looked a bit decent. He looked decent. The thing is, like, once again, I'm not trying to re-bring Frank Lampard back into the fray because I'm trying to keep, but like I keep telling people, he didn't really play these players to the advantages. You know what I mean? He didn't play them to the maximum. That's something that Tuchel will do. Tuchel is making a pivot of Jorginho and Kovacic look solid defensively. Do you know how shocking that sentence is?
I've always said that, when I was looking at Lampard and I was analysing the players before and before Lampard and when they came in, whether the ones he bought or the ones he met at Chelsea, there wasn't, when you look at how many players actually improved or played at the same level been playing at the previous season, none of them, barring, let's say, Mason Mount, the youngsters, Mason Mount, Reece James, Kovacic improved because he became Chelsea's Player of the Year. When you look at all the other players, Rudiger's, Kepa's, Jorginho, Havertz, Werner, all these guys, they all just like, they just took a tumble and their performances just went horrible. And I was always wondering, why is it that Lampard can't get? Listen, I'm not trying to get at Lampard or anything. That's not what I'm trying to. But I'm just trying to say, like, I was always asking myself, why can't Lampard get the best out of these players that Sarri and all these other managers did? Why are they not playing well? It just doesn't make sense. Like, we all saw Kepa the previous season. He was nowhere near that bad. Do you know what I mean? Rudiger was not that horrible. Marcos Alonso, he was Marcos Alonso, yeah. But all the other guys were not this bad, and I don't know. I just couldn't comprehend what was going on with our players.
Exactly. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Like I kept telling, thing is, like, it's easier to have this conversation now because all of us, like I kept telling everyone, and this is something I always said before I went into any conversation with regards to Lampard, the whole situation had all of us in emotional bondage. You know what I'm saying? The stream we had when the day was sacked, the mood was so down because we all had that connection. everybody said address this man without his playing career in mind. That is impossible. Do you know what I'm saying? That is impossible. It's not possible for us to actually sit down there and be like, yo, well, let's address this guy without looking at that. That's not possible. For me, at the end of the day, Werner, one of the most clinical strikers in world football, he came into the Premier League. And like I said, Elizabeth, I keep referencing that podcast we had with Olivia. Do you know what I mean? Shout out to Olivia. Big up to Olivia. Very, 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 very entertaining to speak to. You know what I'm saying? We had that episode with Olivia and we were like, yo, Havertz probably won't really turn up because he's the youngest. You know what I mean? Like, what did we say Werner was going to do? Was it 25 goals or something like that? Was was going to do something?
I think I said we were talking about who do you think is going to be like the most impressive?
Yeah, most impressive. We said Ziyech.
He said Werner and I said Ziyech.
Something along those lines, isn't it? Exactly. But the thing is, we were expecting them to perform. Do you know what I'm saying? We signed Havertz because we said Havertz is okay, going to take a bit of time. We said 1 season. I think that's all of us agreed on that. Then I think, like you said Ziyech. Ziyech came into the Prem and nosedived. You know what I'm saying? He just became, I turned him into just a cross winger. That because he was so much more than that at Ajax. You know what I mean? We all know that he required a lot of chances to get stuff done because at Ajax, his highlight reels were phenomenal. But even Ajax fans would tell you that Ziyech would need like maybe 1 out of 5 tries to come off nicely. But we're not really getting that with Ziyech. You saw that pass he gave to Callum Hudson Odoi. Was it against Morecambe? I can't remember who it was, but he has that in his locker. Exactly, has that in his locker, but we're not taking advantage of that. Then Timo Werner, who was I think, wasn't he the most clinical striker in Germany or second behind Lewandowski? Exactly, behind Lewandowski. So he came in. What's happened?
Sorry. Alberto came in the room, so I just started laughing. Sorry.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But like I said, we've got them, and then everybody nosedived. Every single person knows that nobody was improving. So I was just wondering why he had a system, quote unquote, very, very loose air quotes. He had a system that he threw players into. Everybody regressed, okay? And now you've got Tuchel making Jorginho look like prime Makelele. Okay, I'm joking. Before people clip me on Twitter, I'm joking. I am joking. You know what I'm saying? You understand? But it's got him looking like the West London Perlo. You understand? Operating and tactically and doing all the stuff. He's playing these players at their best. He's using them. He's not telling Jorginho to go and press the opponent's centre back. People were dragging Jorginho because of physicality. If you know somebody is not physically capable, why would you ask them to do physical tasks? So, like Monster said, overall, I just see the whole situation like, obviously, I loved Lamps. Him leaving sort of, I think, is giving a breath of fresh air because now people are obviously, Alonso took shots at him. I know he took shots at him in that post match, but he wasn't lying either. He wasn't lying. He didn't need.
What shots did he take? Wait, I watched the press conference. What shots did he take?
He was just saying that now he knows what to do tactically and there are better instructions. He was basically saying that the previous manager didn't know what he was doing. Obviously, to keep it very, very blunt and honest, technically he wasn't lying. Technically, he wasn't lying because some players obviously did not get any form of instruction. Anyway, I can see Monster shaking his head in the background. But at the end of the day, that's the situation at hand. So now you've got these players that have instructions and they know what to do. They know where to be, when to be there, how to be there, and what to expect. Do you know what I mean? And it's not just drilled into their heads like Sarri ball. It's actually like, okay, I need you to press that area of the pitch, press that zone of the pitch. If so happens after counting your head 10 seconds, okay, come back and do that. So there's actually structure to the team now. Do you know what I mean?
I don't even know where we started, but that was a brilliant speech. I don't even remember what the question was. Monster, do you have anything to add, or should I just like go on to the
I mean, I've already spoken about it. I think Dammy went after when I spoke anyway. But hopefully we move on to the Tottenham game. We get something out of that game. 3 points is definitely needed. A draw is not needed. We need a win. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And the team I'm looking at when I reference how we can catch these teams, I look at Leicester. Leicester are now 6 points away from us, and we still got plenty games to go. They are. We can catch them. They've obviously got injuries. Tottenham have got some injuries. Everton are out of form, it seems, and so are West Ham. And another team we need to be looking at is Aston Villa because they still haven't slowed down. But if we can catch Leicester, I reckon by then we will get in the top 4. I reckon we will get top 4. Also, you never know. Man United, I'm not too convinced with them. I think they will drop as well. 100. So you never know. We could actually end up 3rd place. You never know. It's a
Yeah.
very
Especially with Harry Kane's injury, I think that's a massive blow to Tottenham. They haven't been playing especially well. Their results aren't great. Even Liverpool, like they've just gotten their, well, I don't remember it's like their first or second win, but they had been playing like shocking and they hadn't scored in like I think it was like over 400 minutes of football without them scoring, which was just like insane. So really the league is open, and I think looking back, it was really hard to let Lampard go, but in the end, I do think it was the right decision because it's better to try to save the season now while we're not too far off of the pace and try to salvage what we do have. So I'm trying to go through these comments. I'm 25 minutes behind, but I want to try to get to them. So it's going to be like all over the place with things that we were talking about and everything, but whatever. So David goes, I think Kovacic will be an ever-present player in the starting 11. Something to notice that we still have N'Golo Kante, who has not played a game under Tuchel because he's been injured. So do you think that once Kante is fit, that he starts, and who does he displace out of that Jorginho Kovacic pivot? Monster, I'll start with you since Dami talked a lot.
It's a tough one. I mean, if it was me, if it was my decision, I would probably displace Kovacic just because of the control Jorginho brings to the game. Jorginho also give Kante a bit more of that freedom to go and retrieve that ball and then recycle it. So I would drop Kovacic. I feel like Kante and Jorginho will be better than Kante and Kovacic, because we all know, listen, once Kante comes back and is fully fit, we all know he's got to get in that starting lineup. Simple as that.
Yeah. What about you, Dami?
Cover is interesting. It's very interesting because I'm not sure. It's an odd one for me to say next, but as good as Cover can be, and obviously did give it a few nice passes in and here and there, I just feel like overall, I'm not too sure if we can see Kovacic and Kante playing together. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't see that ever happening. I don't think Tuchel would ever do that because neither. Oh, there we go. How do you guys think Kante fits into alongside? That's how I was getting.
I wasn't even planning this. It just happened. So
exactly. That's what I was getting to. Don't shoot me. But I think if anything, it would be Jorginho and Kante. Let me tell you why. Jorginho, okay, his passing range is better than Kovacic's. Do you know what I'm saying? Overall, I don't think any of us can disagree with that. He gives the better ball moving forward, and he can progress it a lot better. And the thing is, like I've said, Kovacic has always been in this odd position. You know, big up to Reeford. You know what I'm saying? Go settings. You know what I'm saying? Go settings. We're out here in the cut. But at the end of the day, like for me, Jorginho and Kovacic and Kante, the three of them, I've always felt like if you're going to choose a pivot, Jorginho and Kante go best because I think, generally speaking, they do complement each other. Jorginho sits, quote unquote sits. Kovacic don't really do that. Do you know what I'm saying? He don't really stay in the position where he can always rely. And look at when people talk about Kovacic and Jorginho, why does it work so well? It's because Kovacic always has an idea of where Jorginho will be because he's not mobile. Do you understand? Kante will have the exact same passing options because it's like, oh, I know George is going to be in XYZ position. And when we're playing, remember, when we're going to play 4-2-3-1, Tuchel requires one of the midfielders to drop deep in between and form like a three at the back. Because at the end of the day, whether it's 4-2-3-1 or 3-4-3 or 4-2-2-2, whatever it is, the man requires somebody to actually come back in and form like that back three so you can progress the ball with 5 players, because he does that so that the opponents, if you throw 5 players in to try and press 5 defenders, then you've got so much space for your 5 attackers. You understand? So that's why he does that. So I just feel, generally speaking, that Jorginho would end up siding with Kovacic. Kovacic and Kante, in my books, has never made sense because that is not a pivot. A pivot, one thing moves and the other one sort of stays. And with Kante and Kovacic, if one person goes missing, if Kovacic gets into a very difficult, sticky, iffy situation, then he doesn't have really anybody to rely on. Same with Kante. So as much as Jorginho can be a defensive liability, I just think it's Jorginho and Kovacic. Jorginho and Kante that makes sense moving forward.
Yeah, I think that Jorginho is a is a little bit more disciplined in the fact that he will stay back more. And I think that Kovacic and Conte both like to roam around. But who knows, like maybe with the instructions from Tuchel, they would like learn to be a little bit more disciplined. I do think that we're going to see Conte have more like free reins because that's what he does best, just like sniffing out the danger, reading the game really well. So it's going to be interesting. I don't exactly know who's going to be alongside him. But I do think if Conte is fit, and he did make the bench, so I'm assuming he'll be fit for the Tottenham game, I think he'll probably start that game. Chris asks us, would you guys have Zuma in or just keep in Rudiger? What do you guys think?
If it ain't broken, don't fix it. So right now, it is working. So yeah, I mean, it's just tough in it because sometimes it's like a player's playing really well, he has no reason to be dropped, and then another player comes in for him. Could be an injury or whatever it was that Zuma had at the time when he was dropped by Frank Lampard. Rudiger comes in, plays well, and since then hasn't been dropped. And it's like a lot of people are asking why Rudiger's not why Zuma's not starting, but it's like, has Rudiger done anything to be dropped as well? So it's just a bit of a tough one. They all play well, but it's a good headache for Chelsea to have, in it. It's just a bit. I don't know. For now, I would say if it's not broken, don't fix it. Stick with what we got right now. Stick what we've been doing.
Yeah. What about you, Demi?
I mean, I have to agree because, like I said, like I'm going to let him do his thing, whatever he really wants to do right now. Let him do that because things are coming. We see them working, so let him keep on doing. If it means Alonso starting, as much as I hate to see it, when he goes on the pitch as support, same thing with Rudiger. So, like he said, if it's not broken, there's no need to fix it. Do you understand? And it's clear that he liked him. He spoke to him before he came to the club, so I don't even see him dropping anytime soon. Do you understand? I just feel like overall, he starts making his stupid mistakes on a regular basis, then I don't see why we should drop him as of right now.
Yeah. So we go Savage, Ellie. I don't know what I said that was savage, but it was probably something savage. Yeah, I just feel like Zuma kind of got left out of the starting 11 really randomly. You know, it was just from one game to the next that I didn't think that he necessarily did anything to warrant getting dropped. And then we just saw Rudiger in, and now Rudiger's kind of got his spot back. So I did think that was interesting.
I think he got the first time Lampard dropped him. I think Rudiger got injured or he had a knock. I think that's what it was. But since then, Rudiger just played really well and had no reason to be dropped. That's why Rudiger, Lampard's last 2 or 3 games, Rudiger played all of them. So yeah, he's just not done anything wrong to be displaced. It's a bit of a weird one. That's a good headache to have at the club. Can't really complain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do miss Zuma's heading ability though on those corners because he scored like 4 already in the league, and I do think that we're missing that like aerial threat. Thiago Silva can score them. Rudiger is not. He doesn't score as many headers, so I do miss that on that front. But you guys are right. We have a question, or it is more of a comment, but Reece James can be used in a pivot. But the thing is, I don't necessarily see Reece James like taking out Jorginho or Kovacic or Conte for that pivot spot. Like we know that he can definitely be used there, but I don't know if he would necessarily start above these players. I think that maybe we could see him come off the bench to give them a rest in a pivot role, but I don't see him starting as in a pivot, at least not while we have these players available. What do you guys think?
Reece James in a pivot is something that we've not seen at Chelsea. I know we did it at Wigan, but we haven't seen it at Chelsea. We haven't seen it in the Premier League. So we don't really have that time to be experimenting right now. We don't have that kind of time in it. It's the same thing with Christensen. People saying he does it for Denmark and blah, blah. But this is the Premier League. And if they've not done it here to prove that they can do it here, I wouldn't necessarily experiment right now. We've just got maybe during pre-season. So for now, James in a pivot. Are you going to use him over Jorginho, over Kovacic, the way they're performing, over Kante, over Billy Gilmore? No. Yeah, that's a no on that one. We just can't force everyone into the starting lineup. That's the one issue I think a lot of Chelsea fans have. They want to see everyone playing at the same time, and unfortunately, that can't happen because there's only 11 11 positions on the pitch. So yeah, Reece James in pivot. No, not this season. No.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And somebody else says, where does Billy G fit in the PV? Personally, I think that he would replace Jorginho or Kovacic if they were starting. But it's interesting because he's not going out on loan. That's something that we found out today, that he was pushing for a loan. It looked like he almost was going to go to Southampton. But then in the end, he is staying at Chelsea and has been told that he's going to get game time. And he was worried about that because of the Euros, obviously, the summer, and he wants to start for Scotland. So where do you guys see Billy playing? You think that he'll starting some of these games?
Don't go, Dammy.
Billy G, Billy Goat. You know what I'm saying? Our end, the settings. But I think with Billy Gilmore, it's like a lot of people feel like he might not really play too much. Where we are actually sit down and think about if Lampard was here, would he be playing as much as people would want him to be? So I think people should keep that sort of energy as well with regards to Billy Gilmore, because right now, obviously, when we look at the youth players, who would you throw all your eggs into one basket for? You could do it for Mason Mount. Tammy is like, maybe I'll throw half my eggs in, but you know what I mean? You do it for Reece James, you do it for Tammy Abraham, you do it for Mason Mount. Those three certified. I don't think I'm missing any of them, but those three 100% certified. Pardon?
Callum.
And Callum, sorry. Oh, Starboy, sorry. I'm sorry. I forgot. I will give him all my eggs, all the money in my IRS account, everything. I'd bet all my money on that. But with Billy Gilmore right now, he has the talent. You know what I'm saying? I knew about him before I even joined twitter.com or did any of this YouTube stuff. I'd been known about him for time. 2018, do you understand? I'd been a fan of Billy Gilmore for quite a bit of time because I saw the video on the club's website at the time. So I knew about him for a while. But right now, I do think Tuchel has a plan for him, but I don't think he's going to play as often as a lot of people would like to see. But I just also still have to say that Chelsea fans need to remember that. Think about, would he have played as much under Frank Lampard? Frank Lampard wanted him out on loan. Do you know what I'm saying? So the fact that Tuchel is keeping him in actually means that something could potentially be happening. I'm still upset that Tomori left just before Tuchel came in, because we could have seen something very different at the end of the day. But with Billy Gilmore, I'm looking forward to see what he can do. He can definitely do a job. Maybe he might get a chance here or there in the FA Cup. And then if he really impresses Tuchel, he could bench Jorginho for a certain game. Come on after 6. We could see him in certain strings. And if he proves that he can actually do this on a consistent basis, then fire away. Because for me, as much as I like Jorginho as a player, I still feel like he can be limited in certain ways. But Billy Gilmore's overall game and just overall, I think he will be better for us moving forward. And I think that's why Tuchel has kept him. We could even see him further up the pitch, because I saw the training drills and I saw him taking all sorts of different shots and playing further up. So it could be interesting right now. It could be interesting. But hey, him in that double pivot to definitely be nice to see as a replacement for Jorginho, because there's no replacement for Jorginho in the midfield. You could sort of say if Kante is injured, cover plays. I know they're not like for like, but there's kind of similarities between those two in it. So Billy should stay behind 100%.
Yeah, and I've said the same thing. It's just like I said with the previous question, is that the problem is a lot of Chelsea fans want everyone to play. Everyone can't play at the same time. With Billy Gilmore, I've always said, listen, how is Billy Gilmore? He's about 19 years old. Listen, normally you don't see 19-year-olds in the senior teams and things like that. I don't want, I've heard people say at the time, Billy Gilmore should replace him. We should sell Kante, let Billy Gilmore be the one to replace him. And I don't want to be putting the hopes of our midfield on a 19-year-old player. Do you know what I mean? This is
100%.
This is Chelsea FC. This is not West Ham. This is not Burnley. Do you know what I mean? This is Chelsea. Billy Gilmore will get his time. He'll get a few games this season. Yeah, he'll get a few games this season. And, don't worry about it. He will get some game time. There's plenty of game time to go around, isn't it? But we don't need to shoehorn him into the starting lineup. That's not necessarily how football works at the highest level. Do you know what I mean? So people need to give him some time. He's just come back from injury as well. Calm down. He will get his minutes, in it.
Jonathan,
I see your face lighting up at this comment. What do you have to say?
Jonathan, big up to you for watching the stream. You understand? Hella good looking. Look, I see my guy with the sharp jawline and everything, looking all fresh and that. I see you, my G, but broski, I've got to disagree with you on that one bombastically, because at the end of the day, Gilmore and Mason Mount couldn't be any different. They are still very, very close in age as well. So they are not really replacing their career paths are more or less on the same thing. I think Mason Mount is 22 and Gilmore is like, what, 20? No, not 20, 19, 18, something like that. So only 3 years between them. So no, I don't think he's going to replace Sir Mason. Do you know what I mean?
Wow, you held yourself back there. I really thought that you were going to go on.
No. Only time for people that drag me, so it's calm.
Oh my god, that's so funny. So yeah, I feel like we're at a pretty good place to end it. We're in pretty high spirits after that Burnley win. I was nervous about that game because they had beat Liverpool, they had beat Aston Villa, and we hadn't won and we're playing fantastic football. So it looks like really great signs under Tuchel, and I'm honestly really excited for this Tottenham game and to see like what happens with that. And I think that we could go on to win it, honestly. So I want to say thank you guys so much for joining. Any last thoughts, comments, where anybody can find you? Demi, I'll start with you.
Big up, Jonathan. I've seen your reply. Maggie, like I said, I'm a nice guy. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm all vibes. You know what I'm saying? Making people smile, making them laugh, making them feel good about themselves. All good, my brother. Do you understand? I'm not like some other people in the community that are very rude. You know? I'm not going to say anybody's name, but yeah, let's just do it like that. But hey, listen, if you haven't subscribed to Elizabeth, be sure to hit that subscription button, you understand? Let's get it to 50 likes. Pummel the like button, you understand? Bash it, touch it up, destroy it, let the police be called, you understand? Touch up that like button, dismantle it. And obviously, if you want to find more of my round face, you can go to TheGrandDam, you understand? Dammy Chelsea. Just subscribe to me on YouTube at TheGrandDam. That's my Instagram. I don't have anything on there. That's all my social media in it. So TheGrandDam, that's where you can find your boy.
That I put your links in it should already be in the description, but I put the links for your YouTube channels in there as well.
Thank you. And yeah, people, smash the like button and make sure you subscribe to Ellie's channel, man. You know what I mean? Get her up there, man. Do you know what I mean? Big ups to her and every of the other Chelsea ladies on social media. Yeah, man. Love your content. Watch your videos. Saw the video with is it his name Dan? Dan
Dan, son of Chelsea, yeah.
Not that, no, not son of Chelsea.
Oh, McCarthy.
Yeah,
Dan
McCarthy.
McCarthy,
Yeah. It was a good video, man. Very informative. And big ups to you guys doing your thing, man. You know what I mean?
Thanks so much. That means a lot. I saw your comment on that video, so it was really cool. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Like they said, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so because it helps me out immensely. I've put the links for their channels as well in the description so that you can find them and watch more brilliant Chelsea content. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back at some point with a preview video for the Spurs game. And until then, I'm out.